they want to celebrate, I believe. So I don't see most of them. Fine, as we progress, probably they may join. Yeah. So in the last class, we were going through how to develop an aspect. We saw how to develop an aspect, right? So aspect means uh, here it is a combination of point cut and the join points inside, right? You see, in the aspect, you'll be having these details. Sorry. So you find that um, here in the aspect we can define our own method, a user defined method, I can say. Yes. Here this method, in this method we'll be writing the advice code. As of now, you see we are writing this login code. This is our advice code now. Here, to this method, a parameter is passed called as join point. There is a parameter which is passed on here called as join point. So what we'll be doing with this parameter? Yes, you see this parameter join point can be used to obtain the target method details. It can be used for obtaining the target method details, okay, the arguments which are passed on to the method. So yes, you see, for example, here let's say I want, you see, using this join point, you can obtain the target object reference. The target object means the object which this target method belongs to. Target object reference, you can obtain that reference. And you see, if you want to read the parameters which are passed on to the method, or arguments, I'm sorry, the arguments which are passed on to the target method, if you want to read those arguments, then you can use this method called as get args. Yes. Okay. Earlier we saw the advice methods. Earlier we saw advice methods. You'll find that to that advice methods, the parameters, this object array reference, the target object reference, I'm sorry, the arguments, the method object reference, those details were passed explicitly. But here you see, we can read those details from this join point. Okay, yes, you can try to relate these two methods now. You see the advice methods here in the aspect. This is a advice method, right? In the aspect. You got the advice method in the aspect. Log method is advice method, but it is not user defined method. Okay, sorry, it is not predefined method. Earlier we had predefined methods, but now we are defining user defined method. Okay, now this advice is applied to which method? This advice code is applied to which method? What do you people think? This advice code is applied to which method? Yes. Even those details are also configured here in this aspect class itself, right? Where are those details? You see this expression will give you those details. So the advice code which is defined in this log method is applied to get message method. You see the target with that expression, it is referring to the target method here, get message. Okay. Next, what else we have to do here? Yes, you have to configure these details in the you see we have annotated it, right? So basically that aspect details, okay, the aspect will be loaded accordingly because we're using annotations here. We have specified the package details. com.mtc.app should be enough. Even the subclass, the annotations which are in the sub packages also will be loaded or will be read, and accordingly the beans will be loaded. And you see here, um, why are we using this auto aspect J auto proxy here? What does that mean? Why do we use this auto proxy here? Yes, here when it comes to this aspect J style of programming, we don't configure the proxy explicitly. The proxy for the target object will be dynamically generated. Okay. Yes. And the proxy will intercept the target object methods. Okay. We have configured the details here, right? Yes. The point cut details. So accordingly, the proxy will intercept this method calls and it will execute the advice code. Yes. Fine. You see here, you got this code where we are loading the container and then we're obtaining that example service bean. This is the target object, right? And we are calling the method here. You see, definitely that login code will execute. Yes, you see, in the aspect, log aspect, you got this login code. This method is executing here. Okay, yeah, fine. But actually, the thing is here, I've hard-coded that method name. You see, what I'll do is I'll delete the details. I want to print the target method name. I want to print the target method name here. What to do? So if you want to print the target method name, the target method uh, details are stored in this join point itself. Okay, just a minute, please. Just a minute. I'm sorry. Okay. So, you know, this advice code, when it will execute, whenever the target method will be invoked. What is the target method? Get message method. Whenever the get message method is invoked, this target method will invoke, right? And the target method this advice method will invoke. Okay, whenever the target method get message is invoked, you see, before that method starts execution, the proxy will call this log method. And to this log method, it will also pass the target method details. You see, here in the join point, you will have those details. You just do this, use this method called as toShortString. So what this toShortString method does, toShortString method will return the name of the target method for which this log method is invoked. This log method is invoked for the get message method, right? Yes. For the get message method, the target method is invoked. Yes. Yeah. So now if I call that get message method, this logging code will execute, and you see through the join point, the log method will read the target method name. Yes. You see, target method execution service dot get message. Says the target method is get message here. That's it. That is how it works. Okay. Now here, as of now, there is only one method, right? I will add one more method. Let's say string process int some ID. So I got a method. I will add one more method now to that example service. First, I'm adding that method to this interface. Okay. Then here we'll implement that method in this example service. Let's say I got this method here. Okay. Now, as of now, you got two methods, right? So I'll call the process method now. In the example service, I'll call the process method. Now, can you people tell me if the advice code execute when I call the process method? You see, we are calling the process method, right? So will the advice code execute in this case? Will the advice code execute in this case? Yes, it won't execute because we want to apply the advice only, or the login code, we want to only apply that advice to the get message method. So it won't execute this time. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to apply the advice as of now, you see, first of all, let me show you here. If I run this code, what happens? You'll find that the process method is invoked. The advice code is not executed. The log aspect advice code is not executed this time. Yeah. So here, if I want to apply the advice to all the methods, then in that case, instead of example service, instead of specifying the method name, you can do this. Example service dot star. Okay. Now this time, the advice will be applied to all the methods which belong to the example service class. All the methods which belong to the example service class, to all those methods, the advice will be applied here. Okay. If I run this code, this time definitely, you see, we are called this time definitely that advice code should execute. Let me run this code. Yes. Okay. So hope this is clear for you people. Any doubts or issues in this regard, please let me know. Okay. Hope you people are comfortable. Now, this execution expression, basically we call it as a point cut expression. This is a point cut expression, so which we use to specify the target method details. You'll find that this expression is actually a combination of various patterns. You'll find that this expression is a combination of various patterns. Yeah. You see, we are trying to apply the advice based on various patterns here. So the first pattern is called as access modifier pattern. The execution expression, we got various patterns which we use to apply the advice. You see, the first one is access modifier pattern. Here, in the expression, execution expression, we have specified the access modifier as public. That means it indicates that you want to apply the advice to the methods which are declared as public. The methods which are declared as public, to those methods you want to apply the advice. So as of now, you see both the methods in the example service, they are public, right? Yeah. What if the method is protected? Okay. Actually here, first of all, uh, you can't use, while overriding you can't use the less restricted access specifier, right? You won't be able to do that. But you see, if a method is protected, if the method is protected, then to this method, that advice will not be applied. To this method, the advice will not be applied here. Yes. So here, this way, based on the access modifier, we can apply the advice. You see, for example, we'll change it here. For suppose I want to apply the advice to only to the protected methods. I want to apply that advice only to the protected methods. That's it. So now what happens here? So the advice will be applied only to the protected methods now. So if I run this code this time, you'll find that the advice code will not execute for the process method because process method is not protected, it is public method. So you won't find any hint of logging code this time. Okay. Now You see, we can also apply the advice based on the return type. We can also apply the advice based on the return type here. Yes. Yeah. So in this case, actually, this point cut expression, it indicates that we want to apply the advice to those methods which return a string, whose return type is string. We want to apply the advice to the methods whose return type is string. So what if I do this void? That means I want to only apply the advice to the methods whose return type is void. I want to apply the advice to only those methods whose return type is void. That means again, are there any methods which qualify for that expression, point cut expression? Are there any methods which will qualify for that point cut expression? No. There are no methods. So you see, for two methods, both the methods return type is void, sorry, string. So there is no method whose return type is string here. Yes. So it won't be applied. Hope you people got it. Next, we can also apply the advice based on the package. See, we're specifying the package details here, right? Yes. Okay. Then the class name, we can apply the advice based on the method name. You see, we can also do this. Let's say example service dot get star. What does that mean? What do you people think? What does this mean here? So we want to apply the advice to which methods? Yes. So this indicates that we want to apply the advice to the methods whose name starts with get. We want to apply the advice whose method name starts with get. Okay. Now, here, you know what? We can also apply the advice based on the parameters which are passed on to the method. You can apply the advice to the methods based on the parameters which are passed on to the method. You know the dot dot, what it indicates? The dot dot here, it specifies that we want to apply the advice to the methods which take any parameter. Irrespective of what parameter it takes, we are not bothered. Dot dot indicates that the method can take any parameters. What if I do this? Now here, this indicates that the method we want to apply the advice to the methods which take integer as a parameter. We want to apply the advice to the methods which take integer as a parameter. Only those methods which take integer as the parameter, the advice will be applied. So this is a combination, you see, not only just the parameter, you see, the method name should, the method's access modifier should be public, the method should return string, the method should belong to this package called as com.mtc.app, and the method should be defined inside the example service. The method name should start with get, and it should take an integer parameter. So whichever method satisfies all these patterns here, so only to those methods the advice will be applied. Okay, yes, fine. So hope you people got it. Okay, any doubts or issues in this regard, please let me know. Okay, cool. So I'll assume that this is clear for you people. Next, here, As of now, you see the advice code is executing before the method starts execution. The advice code is executing before the method starts execution. But what if I want to apply the advice after the method finishes execution? What to do? So earlier what we used to do, yes, when you used AOP, what we used to do if I want to apply the advice after the method finishes execution. Yes. Earlier, if you want to apply the advice before the method starts execution, what we used to do, just a minute please. Okay, I'm sorry. Earlier, if you want to apply the advice before the method starts execution, in that case, we used to implement an interface. Sorry, after the method finishes execution. If I want to execute the advice code after the method finishes execution, then we used to use method. So after returning advice, we had an interface called as after returning advice, right? So when you want to execute the advice code after the method finishes execution, then we'll use after returning advice. And if you want to execute the advice code before the method starts execution, then we have implemented method before advice, right? Yeah. But here, how will we do this? Okay, we use before annotation in place of implementing an interface called as method before advice. So this will make sure that the advice code executes before the method starts execution. If you want to execute the advice code after the method returns or after the method finishes execution, use this after. Use after returning. So here, but basically you know that uh, Just a minute, let me do this. Okay. I'm making sure that the advice is applied to those methods. Now basically you know that after the method finishes execution, you'll have the method will return a value. After the method finishes execution, what the method does basically, it returns a value, right? May or may not return a value, but in our case, both the methods are returning a value. So you see, when you're using this advice after returning, advice, you'll get that value. To this advice method, that value will be written. So this method should take that value, written value. Okay. So here always the value will be written this written value. So here you have to do this. So you have to register that written value using an attribute called as returning. The parameter with the name return value, you have to register it here. That's it. So this time the advice code will execute after the method finishes execution. You see, whatever the value the method returns, that value, you see, it will be stored in this variable return value. So that will be passed on to this method and it is stored in that value. Okay. Sorry, in that variable return value. It will print that value. Value returned is printed. Sorry. Sorry. Value returned is processing for account 67. Yes. First the process method is executing here. Then we got this log code. Okay, hope you got it. Right? Now, what are the other advices we got? Advice types we have. We saw before and after returning, right? So we have discussed about advice types, four advice types. What are the other advice types you got? Around advice, or it is around advice and throws advice. So around advice means the advice code which executes before and after the method finishes execution. Right? But earlier, if you want to implement this advice, which interface we use basically, what is the interface name which is used? If you want to execute the advice code before and after the method, before the method starts execution and after the method finishes execution, both before the method starts and after the method finishes execution. So which interface we have to implement? Which interface is that? You people didn't remember? If you want to apply the advice before the method starts execution and after the method finishes execution. What is it? Method interceptor, that's right. Yes, but here how do we do that? Here we'll use annotation called as around. Okay. And how we'll use it and all, there are a few details which we have to discuss. I'll show you how to use this around advice and all, but we'll do it in the next class. Okay. Yeah. So we have a class tomorrow also at same time. In the next class, I'll show you this around advice. Use it. Yes, and we'll be talking about the throws advice. Then we'll see the applications of AOP. The transaction management is a real big application of AOP which we'll be discussing. Okay. Yeah. So I'll stop it here today.